The Carney Liberals are forcing every family in Canada to spend 8,000 tax dollars on a project that two-thirds say they will never use. If it ever, and by the way, that's $8,000 per family of four if it stays on budget. And if it ever gets built, the Carney Liberals plan to force families to pay higher taxes every single year into eternity because it is expected to lose money forever. Unlike, for example, air travel, which makes money. In fact, the losses are expected to be twice as high as VIA loses every year right now.
That's Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre calling the proposed high-speed rail project between Toronto and Quebec City a $90 billion boondoggle. Let's now go to Philip Lawrence. He's a Conservative MP for Northumberland-Clarke, that's in Ontario, and he's Shadow Minister for Intergovernmental Affairs and Inter-Provincial Trade. Mr. Lawrence, welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, listen, I want to put my cards on the table. I want high-speed rail so badly. I've been to Japan. I've been to Europe. It's amazing. The bullet train's incredible. But I also hear the numbers here, and I've done the research because I've been covering this for years on this show in this segment in transit. Like, the proposal right now is 3 times as expensive as similar projects in other parts of the world. So I get the money side here. But I still want nice things. I think a lot of Canadians want high-speed rail. What do you say to all this, Mr. Lawrence?
Yeah, no, it's a laudable goal to get from Montreal to Toronto in a couple of hours. But like everything in life, there are costs and benefits and there are trade-offs. And the costs here are just simply too high. We're looking at $90 billion, as your opening cut showed, leader said, $8,000. That's if it stays on budget. In the average North American high-speed project, over budget by 45%, which means the cost could go up to easily $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 per family of four in country. In addition to that, in my riding and also in many ridings in Quebec and Ontario, there's quite a bit of fear because property might be expropriated that have been in the family farms for hundreds of years. And the idea of a government coming and taking that perhaps against people, well, is a scary one. And then finally, there's the idea of crossings. Because the high-speed rail is a very invasive form of transportation, meaning that you have a limited amount of crossings. It'll stop people from going to their schools, to their churches, or even to their hospitals.
So listen, I just want to say, in your last points there, I struggle with that as well, right? Because I am on team, we need to actually build stuff in this country, and we need to exploit our national resources. It seems like when your party talks about pipelines and other natural resource projects, we have the same concerns. There are going to be expropriations. There might be this, communities. And you're like, you know what? We have to, it's 2026. We need to get this stuff done and exploit our resources, right? So, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I know there's going to be expropriations, but it's also a matter of, getting a project off the ground. And again, I guess I ask you, other countries do it. Well, and that corridor has the population density, Quebec to Toronto, similar population densities to what we see in Europe and Japan along those lines. So, why isn't there another way? Why isn't your party saying, you know what, we're going to do it? Yeah, we're going to do it, but we're not going to waste your money like the Liberals. We're going to do it for $30 billion. Why not? Why isn't that the approach?
The reality is that the economics of this don't work, and you can just look to the McGill study that was done. The McGill study, the economics is just there for this project. They were looking at costing a couple $2 billion every year, and so that there isn't a sufficient economic case to make this a viable. Hey, I'm with you. I want to have our resources fully utilized. I want to open pipelines, open mines, but there's got to be a solid economic case. We need projects that add money to the coffers, that don't take billions away every year.
So here's the thing, right? The Japanese high-speed rail network, it doesn't lose money, okay? It's highly profitable. I'm just trying to figure out why, to me, that I would love that to be the conservative position. No, we're going to make this highly profitable like it is around the world. We got to be able to have these nice things. So that's what
No,
I'm struggling. Like I'd get it if it's like everywhere this is done around the world, it just is a drain on national resources and a debt-sucking machine. But in other places, it makes a profit. Are we crazy? What's so wrong with Canada that we can't get it done? Let's fix that.
No, well, I can speak a little bit to the Japanese case, but economists and experts would probably be able to say it better. Yeah. But it's just the population density in Japan that allows the bullet train to be so successful. Mm-hmm. There are big cities. There's no doubt that Toronto and Montreal are world-class cities. But overall, from that, the corridor does not have the same population density you would have in Japan or other places. The economic case is just not there, as the McGill study said, that we're looking at funding this for billions of dollars going forward. I'm not against, and our party's not against the idea of high-speed rail, but we need to have projects that make economic sense.
Yeah. I gotcha. I mean, I get that side of things, but I would love for that to be, instead of just saying it's not going to happen, there goes my dream, poof into the night of high-speed rail. On the expropriation front, and we've spoke to the Bloc Québécois about this as well. They're not happy. They're worried about a repeat of Mirabel and right. that. Do you really think that there's no way to do expropriations, but in a proper way, not to go crazy like we saw with Mirabel, where they expropriated so much land that was never used? Like, isn't there a way to do expropriations responsibly?
Yeah, the challenge here is, and I'll just repeat what my residents have said, because, of course, part of the route goes through my residencies. There's been a complete lack of communication, and then in Bill C-15, the government took additional expropriation powers. And then when I asked the government, I asked Minister McKinnon in committee about when expropriation would begin, he said as soon as possible. There's been very little communication, no two-way communications. My residents say that they've gone to the Alto information sessions, and instead of them taking the feedback, there's no one with notebooks or otherwise. And so you've got people who are absolutely terrified, and this is the wrong way. And quite frankly, it has many of the same earmarks, and I'm sure some Bloc colleagues would say the same as a Mirabel boondoggle, because you're looking at taking this wide swath of maybe a smaller route, and we're not even sure whether the project will go forward, which could end up as the same thing in Mirabel. You could have thousands of acres that could be expropriated without ever actually being used.
Okay, I guess we'll leave it there on that front. Let me just ask you one thing.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan? Does your party have a plan for Via Rail? Okay, so high-speed rail is off of the table. Should we expect more cuts to Via Rail because it loses money, right? Like, what is your party's position on rail in general?
Yeah. So as the leader said, we want targeted, smart investment in infrastructure. With Via Rail, I ride Via Rail. We've had the CEO and from the Transportation Committee, I've had the opportunity to question. The first step is we need to have greater accountability and transparency from Via. The Trudeau government and now the Carney government have given Via over $9 billion over the last 10 years to improve railways. And they bought locomotives that weren't necessarily good at working in the snow or good in the cold weather. You would think that would be something you could foresee. So competency is the first thing that we would demand from Via.
Mr. Lawrence, thanks so much for your time this morning. Great discussion. Come back soon, okay?
No, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Philip Lawrence, Conservative MP for Northumberland-Clarke, and he's Shadow Minister for Intergovernmental Affairs and the One Canadian Economy. Paul Langan is with us. He's President of High Speed Rail Canada. Paul, welcome back to the program.
Oh, it's great to be on.
One of the biggest proponents of high-speed rail in this country, Paul. That's what you are.
Well, I'm becoming the historian of high-speed rail in this country.
Can I ask you something here?
Yeah.
$90 billion, money losing guaranteed. Do you feel that's accurate? Do you feel we're spending too much here on these projections?
Yeah, so there's a lot of contradictory on Pierre's little press conference there, and I'm glad you started off with that one. He said we will greenlight projects that pay for themselves, that make money, right? Profit. So that means no federal infrastructure money for hospitals, for police, for defense, for schools, for transit projects. They all lose money.
Paul,
sorry.
Paul, listen.
Yeah.
I got that, and that's the hyperbole of politics. But I actually want to get to a real answer here because I'm scratching my head. If you look at the Japanese and European projects, they cost a half or a third of what Canada is proposing. It makes no sense. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. So does he have does he have a point there that $90 billion is insane?
Does he know it's $90 million?
Yeah.
Like, I think the number one thing, on all honesty, from my end, is who's controlling the costs and what will the costs be? Mm-hmm. He's made up a number, okay? Yeah. I'm saying it probably could be done a lot less. He's saying comparisons to they built the Transcontinental in 4 years.
That was a different time.
And then he's saying that in his press conference, right? Yeah. And then he's saying in the same press conference they're stealing, farmers' land now. Well, you know what happened when they built the CPR? They didn't even consult. They just took the land.
It was it was a different era. But I also hear the concerns of people like, do you remember Mirabel? Like Mirabel Airport in Montreal.
Oh my God!
We sometimes screw up in this country, and I'm just trying to get to what I want to get to is why can they get it done in Europe? Why can they get it done in Japan and not here, and we can't do it?
Well, number one, the sea of negativity. So you're bringing Marvell up. You're going to bring that one up. He's going to bring that one up. We're never going to let it go. Okay, he's bringing up the negativity of this stuff, and this is why we can't do big projects because we engulf this sea. Look at the NIMBYs that are happening right now. And again, they're out there. They're trying to kill it. Delay. So yeah, the cost goes up. I mean, this has happened for 30 years. Mm-hmm. That's why we don't get big infrastructure done because we just delay. And we get into this thing of negativity that Canada can't do it, and now we're in the situation we're in now. The other thing is he compared Via Rail and how late they are, without even realizing that's why one of the reasons we're doing the Alto project so we can get on time and so we can get faster. Yeah. But he used that argument like like I say, his arguments in the press conference were so out of whack. Yeah,
Paul, listen, I got to let you go here. I want to make sure we can squeeze in some other voices. But you come back real soon, okay? We'll do this again.
Yeah, no problem. Have a great day.
Experience Bruno Mars live in Toronto.
Guess who's back again?
iHeartRadio wants to send you and a friend with flights from tripcentral.ca. 2 nights at Sheraton Centre Toronto. Tickets to Bruno Mars and $1,000 cash.
Don't believe me, just watch.
Download the free iHeartRadio app. Listen to iHeart New Music for 10 minutes.
I'm coming to get you.
Win your way to Bruno Mars.
Will you be there? Oh, I just might.
Every day you listen is another chance to win.